Good morning, y'all, and good afternoon to y'all on the East Coast. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, right? I mean, who else you gonna thank? Yeah, baby. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Hope you were fruitful, productive. Hope you inspired some folks and didn't let folks get on your nerves too much. Woo! That's a job in itself, ain't it? From whether it's your coworker, your boss, or people in office, somebody gonna get on your nerves. They might even get in your nerves, just like they're just stepping on your last nerve until they're just all up in it. I'm in your nerves now. Okay, so where are we at, folks? We are at Genesis 39, and bad Zoe, you know how unorganized I am. You know, the scatterbrained knucklehead that I'd be. I didn't put the disclaimer out there that we might be talking about some naughty stuff in this chapter too, because Potiphar got him a naughty wife. She's a dirty girl. No good. She's fast and loose. What did you say about my wife? Come on, Potiphar, you know your wife is fast and loose. All right. So we'll get to talking about that. So if you got the children, you know that Uncle Zoe tries to be well behaved, but sometimes the spirit leads them to say things that
sometimes they can try harder.
I mean, like, man, don't be taking my name in, man. I didn't tell you to say that. Come on, but it's in the word. It's in the word. It's like you didn't have to put it like that. Yes, I did. Jesus, I did. I couldn't help myself. Jesus, like, all right. All right. So with that being said, let us humble ourselves before our high king and priest, and invite the Holy Spirit, welcome the Holy Spirit to have his way with this study, and bless our fellowship. May we be edified only by him, letting no other influence get in the way of what it is that he wants us to learn and what he expects us to do. May we, be effective agents of that salt and light, and bring his healing word to the world. Got a lot of fake news out there, so we're going to tell the real good news. We're going to tell the God-breathed news of our Lord. So Lord, help us to be effective with that. And, because we want to bring you glory, we want to be effective with pointing people to you with your healing, restorative, constructive word. So thank you, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, y'all. You heathens, get this word in you before the weekend comes. All right. Okay, so Genesis 39. Now, Joseph had been brought down to Egypt. Potiphar, when I say that, I want to say Potiphar. Don't disrespect me. My name is Potiphar. An official of Pharaoh, commander of the bodyguards, bought him out. He bought him from the land of the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. But Adonai was with Joseph, so he became a successful man in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Okay, so when we back up, let's back up a little bit and we get to now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Egypt means the house of bondage. Interesting. I mean, how ironic, right? Joseph's going to be sold into slavery and into a state that's basically called slavery, and Potiphar himself. It's arguable that Potiphar is not just a name, but it's possibly a title. But in name, let's say it's a name. Potiphar, it means dedicated to the sun god. Its name also is associated with a bull. So, and it's interesting, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this, like when we get into Exodus, the significance of the bull, and and bovine, just bovine worship, in general, and what it amounts to. It's an interesting thing to choose a bovine, figure for idol worship. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But anyway, Potiphar's name, he's the bull, possibly as these interpretations come out. I recommend that you research for yourself to find out what the commonalities of what his name would mean. So who had brought him down there, but Adonai was with Joseph. So he became a successful man in the house of his master, the Egyptian. His master saw that Adonai was with him. Keep that in mind. Potiphar saw it. It's like, dude, I can see that. It's like, just Potiphar's flipping pagan, right? He's an idol worshiper. The Egyptians are polygamous. I mean, what's the word? Polytheistic.
Oh,
well, they're polygamous. Actually, they're polygamous too. They have multiple. Exactly. They go out. They're full on heathens, right? Even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
Easy there.
Only because the Lord helps me to do that. All right. Let's see. It's not easy there. His master saw him. Oh, wait. Okay, got all that. So basically, what I was saying is that Potiphar can see. It's like, dude, your God is with you, right? He can see it. Let's see. Joseph found. His master saw that Adonai was with him, and that Adonai made everything he set his hand to successful. Joseph found favor in his eyes, so he served him as a personal servant, and he made him an overseer over his household. So this is a foreshadowing of Joseph becoming the overseer of Egypt under Pharaoh. He's the overseer of this household under Potiphar, and he's going to be the overseer under Pharaoh in Egypt. Let's see. Where was I at? There we go. Everything that he was trusted into his hands. So, and also these master figures, they're also pictures of God themselves, right? Potiphar is like a small picture of God. Pharaoh is going to be a small picture of God. Joseph is a picture of Christ, right? So you have Jesus, who is, everything is entrusted to him. Jesus is the high representative. For all intents and purposes, he is God. I mean, he is God, right? But he's on, like, when he comes as Jesus on earth, he's the signature of God. He's a projection of God to represent God in the natural. So he's God. And you have this right here, for all intents and purposes, like when you're talking to Joseph, you might as well be talking to Potiphar. When he's head over Egypt, when you're talking to Joseph, you might as well be talking to Pharaoh. But at the same time, they're two distinct beings, but their word is one. Okay. So let's see. From this time that he made him an overseer in his house and over everything that belonged to him, Adonai blessed the Egyptian's house. Well, right on. Potiphar can see this. He knows what's going on. Let me see. Because of Joseph, Adonai's blessing was on everything that belonged to him in the house and in the field. So he released everything he owned into Joseph's hand. Okay, we're seeing these because everything that Jesus has, Jesus is the premier of all creation. He's the firstborn of creation. When we say firstborn of creation, doesn't mean that he was created. He was born and given everything. He is the premier. He is over all creation. And God gave everything to him. He made everything through him and gave everything to him. All right, and this is Joseph's picture of that. He gave everything to Joseph. All right. Because Joseph, he sets his hand, which means that Joseph himself is creative. He sets his hands to things and he multiplies things. All right. Matter of fact, that's what his name means, ain't it?
Yeah. Joseph's
name means increase. It means to multiply. All right. So everything he sets his hand to, it prospers. All right. Let me see. With him in charge, he did not think about anything except the food he ate. That's an interesting choice of words. Joseph didn't have to think about nothing except what he ate. That's it. All right. Now, why is that interesting? Because Joseph, he's given everything. Anything that anything that belonged to Potiphar was Joseph's. Okay, it's the same way with Adam and Eve when they were given the Garden of Eden. Everything belonged to them. Like I said, the universe is their whole backyard. I mean, y'all, they just worked on Earth. Earth was kind of like their place where they lived and where they worked, but they had access to the universe. Okay, they had everything. They were given. I mean, when people try to talk about God being vengeful and mean like that, they were given unimaginable grace up front. They didn't earn it. They were just boom, made into grace. Immortal, perfect health, unlimited resources. I mean, they were seriously hooked up. I mean, you want to talk about the full-on hookup of grace. Anybody want to try to talk about like God is mean and stuff like that? Not from not from the way the Bible opens up. You see, he's actually a very, very nice guy. So now, how does this is this a picture of Joseph, and how is Joseph reflective of that? Because Joseph, despite all he had, the only thing he had to be concerned about was what he ate. Interesting, because with Adam and Eve, that was their condition. You have access to everything, and you can eat whatever you want except this. That is your only concern. Do not mess with this tree. And God himself gave them that direction. This is a direct word from God. You got one law, one thing to be concerned with. Don't eat from that tree. And right here it's telling you with Joseph, you don't have to worry about anything except for what you would eat. Now, Joseph was a pretty righteous dude. We're going to see that in just a second. Right? Let's read it. All right, you know the rule. Despite whatever observations I make, we're going to hear the word of God first. Hey, that's the rule. All right, word of God. I ain't trying to do no sermons here. I'm just giving my observations as we go through this chapter by chapter and verse by verse. All right, so now Joseph was handsome. Uh-oh, he was a fine man. Joseph was good looking. All right, Joseph was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. You remember, Joseph is a picture of Christ. Okay? And I know people they like to go on and to make Jesus all humble and stuff like this, and somehow Jesus being ugly makes him more holy somehow. They like to go off the prophecy with Isaiah. He wasn't much to look at, and and all that sort of stuff. After they had beat him to where he was almost unrecognizable. Then he was not much to look at. But right here, remember, Joseph is a picture of Christ. And Joseph here was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. Jesus in the New Testament lets you know directly by his contemporaries that he grew up strong in stature. He wasn't some weenie, weakling, ugly guy. Okay. Jesus you can't be hiking them hills and stuff like that and carrying around lumber and not be in good shape and stuff like that. He was a good look, he was a good looking guy. He was good, strong and stuff. Also, now some would say that, well, when Judas had to had to go and identify him with a kiss, right? Because you wouldn't know Jesus for anybody else. Yeah, the haters didn't see Jesus, just like nowadays. You see people they could be models and stuff like that, and you got haters be like, yeah, that's all airbrush. They don't really look like that. They're probably like a swamp donkey in real life, right? It's just haters. We'll see you and point out all your flaws. Okay, Jesus, on the other hand, now people say, well, he couldn't have been, anything special to look at because he had to be identified by Judas. Well, y'all remember, Jesus he wasn't just a leader of a church, y'all. He had a militia. His disciples were battle ready. These dudes were hardcore. All right, Peter, out there yanking up them heavy fish and stuff like that, effective with a sword, pulls his sword out, cuts off this dude's ear with precision. These dudes were brawny. And they couldn't tell they wouldn't know Jesus from the rest of them because Jesus was brawny, just like his disciples. All right. So Joseph right here was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. He was very attractive. And the wife of Potiphar was very attracted to him. Now, after these things, okay, after everything that, Joseph is, he's really become the man now. Okay. So where he's become so on level with Potiphar that his wife is looking at him what's the difference? And you know what, Joseph, in terms of power, what's the difference? Potiphar, if he's implicated as a bull, he's probably a heavy guy, and she probably likes, lean, mean Joseph. And let me see. So she said to Joseph, come and get this, babe. Come and get these cookies. Come and get these cookies, Joseph. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. All right. Now, after these things, the master's wife lifted up her eyes at Joseph and said, come lie down. And notice, okay, now she lifts up her eyes. So she's no longer looking down on him. She's starting to look up to him. All right. She's inspired by Joseph, and she sets her eyes to him, and she admires him. Okay, she's admiring Joseph, but she's admiring for the wrong reason. Her admiration has become lust. Yeah. People ask about lust and stuff like that. And somebody asked me, when does lust really become a sin? And my answer was, lust becomes a sin when lust becomes covetous. And reason why I say that is because you think that God is going to punish you for when you look at the woman that you're going to marry. All right, we're not talking about adultery. We're talking about bachelors. You look at the woman that you want to marry, it's going to be natural for you to have thoughts about this person. Okay, so it could be your wedding night, and you're thinking about, oh man, my wedding night, man. It's like you're having these ideas. That's okay. All right, that's all right. When lust becomes like sin, is when it becomes covetousness. When meaning that you feel entitled to it. All right, that leads to rape, and that leads to murder. So it's okay now. Lust, and that's a strong word. I believe what the frame that we want to remain in is admiration. Okay, so it's one thing for her to maybe admire Joseph, but once she starts entertaining it, yeah, that's when we start getting into the toxicity of lust, because now lust is going to become covetousness, and she's going to try to take something that does not belong to her. All right, so that's what we're when we're trying to form this this thing about lust. Lust is the sin of lust is like, one, if you're married and you're examining another person who does not belong to you. You belong to your wife, and your wife belongs to you. All right, and vice versa. Okay, but lust, like I said, when it gets into covetousness and you're idealing something that does not belong to you, that's when you get into trouble. All right, but admiration, that's something totally different. It's okay to admire somebody's their physique and their looks. It's like, hey, that's the work of the Lord right there. That's one thing. Once you start entertaining it, now you're getting outside of what God is okay with. And you don't want to do that. And that's what she was doing. And also the thing I wanted to say is that she's admiring Joseph in the wrong way. The same way we got people today and all throughout history, you have people who admire this Jesus figure. They want to call themselves Christians and stuff like that, and that they love the Lord and whatnot. And it's like, no, you're admiring Jesus for the wrong reasons. You want him for the wrong reasons. And you're trying to shape him into what you think, and what you end up with is an imposter. Okay. And we're going to see with Joseph that's what he's going to be made out to be. He's going to be made out to be an imposter. All right. And that's what a lot of people have fallen in love with about Jesus. They're looking up to Jesus, but they're looking up, they've made an idol. They've made an imposter themselves. They're in love with this person that they assume is Jesus, but they haven't really read his word. Yeah. And they haven't, and especially like a lot of Christians who don't explore the Old Testament and don't embrace the Old Testament. The Old Testament that paints the picture of them. They don't want to do that. They want the hippie fluffy Jesus that they can shape.
The girly Jesus.
Right? Yeah. So what is it? Soy boy Jesus or something like that? Don't get me wrong, man. I like soy products and stuff like that. Some people just take it too far. You take it too far. Right? Like what was it? They've been making. You ever see this commercial? They got all these soy products, and it's like these vegan barbecue. They got vegan ribs, and they got vegan burgers and stuff like that. It's like all this soy and textured vegetables. I'm like, why do y'all keep trying to make this stuff taste like meat? Yeah. You reject meat, and you think that it's a better thing to eat food, but you're trying to make it taste like meat.
That's a good point.
If you really want the best way to get vegetables to taste like meat, here, let me help you. I'm gonna help you vegans out. And I used to be a vegetarian, and it was very, very, I'm sorry, God.
Apologize to your fans.
Right. The best way to get vegetables is because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make vegetables taste like burgers and ribs. The best way to get vegetables taste like meat is to let the vegetables marinate in a cow. You let the cow eat the vegetables and stuff like that. The cow or the deer or the sheep or whatever, stuff like that. You let them eat the vegetables. You gotta let them eat that vegetation and fruits and stuff like that. You gotta let them eat it. Let them eat it and let it marinate. You gotta let the vegetables marinate in all the meat juices. And then as the saying goes, it's like, why if God didn't want us to eat animals, why did He make them out of meat? So I can't take credit for that saying. But anyway, what was I talking about?
I don't know, but we've got a lot of agreement on the soy thing.
Right. Bacon. What's that joke by Jim Gaffigan? Like bacon bits are like the fairy dust of meat.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so come down and lie down with me. But he refused. He said, look here, woman. He said to his master's wife, my master doesn't think about anything in his house with me in charge. And everything that belongs to him, he's entrusted into my hand. Okay, this is the same cadence as Jesus. You know, the picture of Jesus being painted here. All right. No one in this house is greater than I. Right? Familiar language, y'all. And he has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. Now, how can I commit this great evil and sin against God? All right. So it's like he's leapfrogging over Potiphar. So yeah, it's a given that's going to be a sin against Potiphar. But the ultimate sin that you really need to recognize, one, because your husband sees this, it's a dang shame that you don't see it too, that Adonai is with me. It's like, woman, you don't fear Potiphar, you don't even fear God. And Potiphar knows that Adonai is with me. You're asking for big trouble. I mean, seriously. You know, so it's like, yeah, and that's what we got to keep in mind, y'all. We got to keep that in mind about, you know, people be thinking about, you know, getting away with offending other people or stuff like that, or trying to get away with things that they can maybe be able to get away with. You can't get away with it with God, because God is always watching. All right. And don't get me wrong, it's not like God is some voyeur or something like that, like watching every little bit. God is kind of like a security camera. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you do something wrong, that's when you go back and look. It's like you don't sit there and like look at the tapes, you know, look at the tapes. It's when something goes wrong. So it's like God's like watching. It's like, you doing all right. It's like, you know, you good. I'm still there, but you know, it's like, you know, I ain't in your bedrooms and stuff like that unless you're in there, you know, doing something like, you know, really weird. And I'll be in your constant, hey, man, you need to knock that off. That's weird. That's weird. Stop that. You know, freak. Okay.
But you know what, honey? You just pointed out that a woman's relationship with her husband is going to reflect the relationship she has with God. Yeah,
yeah. And you know, I say that, you know, like with you know, with my wife and I, you know, I used to think that you know, our marriage is so awesome because, you know, she gets me. You know, not a lot of people get me. You know, I'm a weird guy, and I'm like, wow, man, she really gets me. I really lucked out. You know. And for a while before we were in Christ, you know, this is kind of true. And it's because she got me, or she put up with me. It's not because she gets me. It's because of her pursuit of getting God. That's the glue. That's what does it. You know what I'm saying? So, but Potiphar's wife doesn't look like she got that. She was trying to get something else. Anyway, he was, now check this out. Where Potiphar never told Joseph, as far as we can say, from what I read, Potiphar himself said, hey, Joseph, check it out, man. Everything I got, it's yours, man. You want to use my car? You use my car. You want to use the hot tub? You want, you know, and have some parties and stuff like that? You can do all that sort of stuff. You want a party goat? You can have a party, just like the prodigal son. It's like, what, you want a party goat? You can have a party goat. Whatever you want, man. But look here. Look here. My wife, she's off limits to you, okay? You have anything else, but don't mess with my wife. Potiphar, as far as I know, Potiphar never told him that. He didn't have to.
Right. He
didn't have to. Joseph is like, hey, he didn't let it go to his head that, yo, man, I got everything. Potiphar is hooking me up with everything. Man, maybe he might be okay because, hey, they're flipping pagans. Yeah. They don't the sanctity of marriage and stuff like that. Now they may have a sense of possessiveness and stuff like that. Okay, you know that's something that takes all cultures. You know, a sense of possessiveness. It could be, you know, mostly, you know, shown by men, but it's, you know, women can be very possessive too. And so even though they may have like this hedonistic, you know, culture, you know, Potiphar can still have a sense of possessiveness. And but it's a pagan heathen culture. But Potiphar still didn't make it a point to say that, hey, you don't got to touch my. Now, Joseph himself knows that, hey, despite everything I have access to, I ain't gonna go there. He didn't even have to be given that instruction. And even without being given that instruction, he keeps to that instruction. Unlike Adam, who was given direct instruction from God. Don't mess with that. You can have access to anything you want, man. It's used freely, okay? Because I'm trusting you. I trust you. With that tree right there, don't touch it. Got direct instructions from God. And the punishment for violating the direct instruction from God, severe. All right? As I said before, it's like Adam, for breaking this law, you and Eve, you ain't got enough behind for me to kick. It's gonna take thousands of years to kick the behinds of all your kids before I'm done. Before my sandals wear out. All right. So let's see. No one in this house is greater than I. Okay, how could you? How could I commit this great evil and sin against God? So whenever she spoke to Joseph, she's trying to break him down. She's trying to break him down. It's like, come on, Joseph. You're so fine. Come and get in this bed with me. Right? Day after day, he did not listen to her. All right? So who was he listening to? He must have been listening to God. The mistake that Adam made is that he didn't listen to God. It didn't take long for Satan to come and say, hey, push it up on his wife. Eve said, hey, this is what you're going to do. All right? Or actually, he didn't tell her because Satan didn't pressure them to do anything. It wasn't what Satan was drawing them towards. It was what Satan was pushing them away from. I'm putting in doubt. I'm making an accusation against God, because that's what Satan's name means, an accuser, right? The accuser. And he's like, hey, God's trying to hold out on you. Oh, what? Really? Okay? So rather than Adam at least turning to God and say, hey, God, are you holding out on? He didn't even do that. He sought no counsel with God, and instead listened to Satan influence his wife, and then followed the influence of his wife. All right? You know, it's like bad move. And they say all blamed on the woman because it was a male figure that was influencing Eve. Yeah. Right? And then Eve took that influence and influenced Adam. All right? So there's plenty of blame to go around here for both male and woman. Okay? But the buck stopped with Adam. Yeah. All right? Let's see. After the master, okay. She kept after him, right? And then let me see, breaking him down. Now, on one such day, he came into the house to do his work, and none of the people of the house were there in the house. Some alone time. What's that song by Steely Dan? Everybody's gone to the movies. Everybody gone to the movies. Want to move around a little bit? Want to have some naughty time? I think that song might be about like pederasty too. Yeah. Steely Dan is great music, but they got some weird subject matter.
Most artists do. Yeah,
most artists do that. Which that means you're weird, so. You guys remember that song? It was on a Dr. Demento album, I Get Weird. Oh, Get Weird. All right. Then she grabbed him. She, come here, Joseph. She tagged him. You gonna give me that? Give me, Joseph. All right. Then she grabbed him by his garment, saying, come here and lie down with me. But he left his garment in her hand, fled, and went outside. When she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, she screamed to the men of her house and said to them, look, someone brought a Hebrew man to us to fool with us. He approached me to lie with me, so I screamed out loud. When he heard me raise my voice and scream, he left his garment with me, fled, and went outside. Okay, a whole bunch of stuff going on in here, y'all. Okay, you know, when you go and you look at like renderings, you know, paintings of the chapter, you know, you always see it's always Potiphar's wife who's naked and really white. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. You know, all these, a lot of these depictions. You know, well, usually the more, you know, the common pieces. I'm pretty sure there's other renderings where she's, you know, she's dark. And I make a point. I mean, I raise a point because, you know, I don't do the ethnocentrism thing. But there's a point. There's a point to all this. But anyway, Potiphar's wife is always the naked one. Joseph was the naked one. All right, she yanked off his garment. He was butt naked. All right. So, and he ran outside. We're naked man outside. All right. So, but in the renderings, it's usually the wife who's seen as naked. Now, maybe she got naked, you know, to try to tempt him. Of course, that's true. But it's always in the renderings. You know, these heathens, they make these renderings just so they can have an excuse to paint a naked woman. And he's the one with his clothes on. All right. So now Joseph looks like an Egyptian. Hebrews look like Egyptians. They look alike. Okay? Moses passed for an Egyptian for a while. And Joseph himself, you know, because he's going to become, you know, basically the premier, you know, under Pharaoh, you know, he looks like an Egyptian. Joseph's brothers didn't recognize him. Joseph's brother thought he was an Egyptian. Okay? Because Hebrews look Egyptian. And they're Middle Easterners. Yeah, and they have now they're dark skinned, not black, not Negroid black. but they're dark skinned, like maybe dark olive. Jesus himself is described as having like feet of burnt bronze. All right. So it's not like Negroid black, but dark skin. Maybe not even like my complexion, maybe lighter, but they're darker in complexion than people usually try to assume. So speaking of that painting, where Potiphar's wife is painted like white, it's like, no, these people were darker in complexion. And on a side note, when you have people like, especially like, the Afrocentrics who want to claim to be like the original Hebrews and the original Egyptian, and y'all really need to make your mind, man. It's like, okay, you're the original Hebrews. Okay, and you're the original Egyptians now. You're the ones who like Al-Shar. We built the pyramids and all that sort of stuff. You think, no, you didn't. You didn't build a pyramid, okay? Stop with the cultural appropriation, okay? Because that's what that is. If you're trying to claim the culture of the Hebrew people and trying to claim their heritage, stop it. You're not Hebrew, okay? Blacks are not the, really quick while I'm thinking about it, the appropriate term for black folks is black, all right? Knock it off with the African-American stuff. Hey, quit it. Not flipping African-American. We're black. That's from the Bible, okay? And I'll tell you why. You got the son of Noah. His name was Ham, one of his sons. That's Ham, okay? The name Ham, actually, the first complexions implicated in the Bible starts with Ham, as far as I know. And his name means like burned or brown. Could be like burnt brown. So it's an implication of his complexion. Okay? Now, Ham had a son, and his name was Canaan. That is not where we descend from. So I know, you got the white supremacists who say the black race is the cursed race of Canaan. That's not our lineage, dang it. Racism makes you stupid.
It sure does.
All right? Black folks didn't descend from Canaan. Canaan was the cursed line for the sins of Ham. His brother was Cush. That is our heritage. Cush, the word Cush means black. All right? So the appropriate term for black folks is black folks. Cush in Greek, you probably now this name is going to sound a little bit more familiar to you. Cush in Greek is Ethiopia. That's our heritage. All right? That's your Negroid black. And it's okay to say Negroid. Don't say the other N word. Hey, don't say that one. And I don't care if you hear, these, hoodlums and stuff like that using that word. It ain't okay to use. Nothing good comes from it.
Yeah, even if you're black, don't use it.
Yeah, exactly. It's stupid. And blacks use it against each other, and then go try to get mad at white folks for saying it. It's like, it's dumb. All right, but Negro, Spanish for what? Black. Okay, you can even call us. You can say India if you want to. Because India means, as far as I know, it means black. Okay, but we're not Indians. But these words that mean black. In Cantonese, you say hak, all right? I don't care. Hak means black, all right? So it's okay to call us black because that's what we are. That's biblical, all right? We are not just black. We're biblically black, baby. That's right. That's from the Lord.
You need to make sure it's biblically
I'm biblically black, all right? So now, I forget what I was going to say. Now, here's the thing. Now, now the Afrocentrics will probably think, see, you've been hanging around with these white folks too long, and you're letting all them. Says, no, tell you the truth. You know where I had this epiphany? I had this epiphany from Afrocentrics. That I was venturing to become a Muslim. Fruit of Islam kind of stuff. All right, I was on my way there. But as I'm listening to the Afrocentrics contradict themselves because they want to make claim to the heritage of the Egyptians. We the original Egyptians. Egyptians were originally black. Egyptians were the original, and blacks were the original Hebrews. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, well, that the Egyptians were enslaving Hebrews, right? So you mean to tell me that blacks were enslaving each other? Oh, okay. And that's when it dawned on me. It's like, oh, wait a minute. When we think about we think about white people enslaving black folks in America and stuff like that. It's like, well, how did they get here? They got here because there was already slave trade going on in Africa. White folks were just new customers. All right. So the reason why you got black folks sold to slavery is because black folks were capturing them, enslaving them, and selling them to white folks as they were selling them to each other. All right. So black folks who want to call themselves the Egyptians, why would you want to make claim to a state that's actually called oppression? That's what Egypt means. That's what Egypt means. It means oppression. It means bondage. So you want to claim that? You want to be the cultural appropriators of that culture? Really? Well, all right. That's dumb. Why don't you just let Egyptians be Egyptians, okay? You want to what? You want to be the Hebrews? You want to be the original Hebrews? You want to be the cult? You want to be the state that has ticked God off more than anybody on this planet, right? Get the Hebrews, and don't get me wrong, because I love my Israeli brothers and sisters, but they tick God off a lot. Black folks, you really want to claim that history? You want to claim the history that has made God so angry over and over again? When you read this book, like this much of it is going to be talking about how much the Hebrews ticked God off, and then ultimately would lead to the death of his son. See, out there chanting, kill him, kill him, kill him. You really want to claim them? You want to claim that as your ancestry? It's not a good idea, okay? Why don't you let the Shemites be Shemites? We're not descendants of Shem. We're descendants of Cush. You know, it's like you talk about all this, black pride and stuff like that. It's got so much black pride, and pride is stupid in any color. Pride is stupid, but all this black pride, but at the same time, you're trying to take the pride of somebody else's heritage. We're not the descendants of Shem. We're descendants of Cush. It's like, but here, I'll throw you a bone since y'all want, this royalty or something like that. The grandson or the son of Cush is Nimrod. Okay? Nimrod, son of Cush, was also black. And Nimrod in the Bible is articulated as the first king of the earth. The first king of the earth was black. That's Nimrod. Now, of course, there's stigma attached to his name because Nimrod is the king of Babylon. Right, and of course we don't need to go into the story of Babylon. And Nimrod had was the one who decided to have the tower built and all that sort of stuff. The Bible doesn't say anything like that. It's not what the Bible says. Out of the order, okay, outside of any ordinance from Nimrod, the people themselves, they said, let us build this tower. Let us make a name for ourselves. They didn't say, let us make a name for Nimrod. Nimrod didn't say, go out there and build this tower and make a name for me. The people decided to do that. They did that on their own volition. Nimrod didn't have anything to do with it. Okay, you can liken that to our founding fathers. The founding fathers wanted a nation where we recognize the God-given rights of man. It ain't the founding fathers' fault for what we did to it. Removing God in prayer from schools and stuff like that. All this rainbow culture and all this hedonistic culture, all the vices that we want to make legal, slavery and all that sort of stuff. The founding fathers put in order, say, we need to put a stop to this. This has to stop. We're going to be a nation of free men. And even some of the founding fathers, well, hey, we need to keep that slavery thing, can't we? It's like, look, we need to make it agree that at some point this is going to have to be abolished. It's going to have to be done away with. Okay? So if we're going to call Nimrod evil for Babylon, then you'd have to call the founding fathers evil. They didn't set this nation up to be an evil nation. But what the people are doing, what the people are doing in taking a bunch of liberties with their freedom, which means taking liberties with somebody else's rights, that's what we end up with. Okay, so wow, all that's coming out of Joseph. Hey, what does Joseph's name mean? It means increase. Yeah. It means multiply. So my points of observation just gonna multiply, David. We're reading about Joseph. That's what his name means. It means to multiply. All right. So let's see. Where was I at? She screamed. Okay. Oh boy, now here's where I'm gonna start getting I'm gonna get into a little bit of trouble here. All right, now just as we're talking about Joseph, as far as these people are concerned, he's an Egyptian. They must have forgotten, maybe they've forgotten that he was bought as a slave. They must have forgot, and people do that. We forget things. And started to see him as an Egyptian. He's got the clothing on like an Egyptian. So he's obviously wearing very skimpy clothes. It's hot out there. So he probably maybe only got on a loincloth or something like that. I don't know. But the Egyptians and the Hebrews, they look alike. He's been given such stature where they just see him as an Egyptian now. So the wife, how do I know that Joseph was naked? When people try, it's like they try to say, and just like Jesus was naked, Adam was naked. Okay, you're gonna have Joseph in the middle. All right. Joseph, we know that Joseph, because she ripped off his garment, but all the renderings show that maybe he only lost a piece of his clothing or something like that. Maybe she only grabbed some tunic or something like that, and maybe he had on some drawers underneath or something like that. No, Joseph was naked. How do we know that he was naked? Because when he was naked is when she remembered or she let everybody else know, hey, don't forget, he's a Hebrew. How can you tell he's a Hebrew? Because he's circumcised. That's how it brought it back. That's how we know he was naked. And not only was it did say that Joseph was strong and handsome. Joseph was probably very well endowed too. Hey, he must, because it's like in all the commotion and stuff like that, and he got naked, and she was able to notice that he was circumcised. That, it's like she didn't have to like get down there and like, look, he's like, hey woman, let go of me. And she was able to see that he was circumcised, probably because that thing was, he was probably hung like a freaking turtle. Right? I put the disclaimer out there. Okay, Joseph was packing. Dang, you know what? Maybe he was black.
Oh, stop.
I'm supposed to get
a shoe, I'd throw it at you.
I'm supposed to get a witness. You throw it, I know what you won't miss.
Stop.
I'm supposed to get a witness. I'm supposed to get amen. I'm supposed to get amen to that.
If this was not a Bible study, you would.
Only Zoe could get. See, Zoe, that's why you can't have a church. That's why you can't have a church, Zoe.
Daniel's son says inventory is junk.
and notice that I used the analogy like a turtle. You think turtle, and you're like, damn, it's a turtle. A turtle that thing's like a freaking anchor. Oh my God! Have you ever seen a turtle? Oh, jeez. It's just like, it's frightening. It's like, oh, even horses be like, dang, son.
Yes. Everybody's gonna Google turtles.
I know, right? Google's gonna blow up with people looking up turtles and stuff like that. All right, let's see. It's like only Zoe could get away.
Karen Mamalaka says she just had a wicked eye. It was a small circumcision.
Hey, I rebuke you. Okay. Let me see. Then she kept the garment with her until his master came home. She spoke the same words to him, saying, the Hebrew slave that you brought. Okay, now this is what I have a little bit of trouble with. She didn't speak the same words. In the beginning, when she pulls it out there, she says, someone brought this Hebrew to fool with us. And then she says, you brought this Hebrew. All right, so she puts the blame on him. Now, for all intents and purposes, she is saying the same. She's making the same account, but to save face, she didn't want to blame. She didn't want to blame her husband out. My husband brought this Hebrew to fool with us. She put someone, so she's saving face. Trying to make herself like she's the good wife. I'm the good wife. All right. And another reason why she probably screamed, y'all, is now I don't know if there was this rift between Hebrews and Egyptians at the time. I know that the Egyptians came to hate the Hebrews a lot. I don't know if this is at this time. This is like 400 years before, Moses, about 400 years or something like that. Yeah. 4 generations or something like that. And so I don't know if there was this rift between Hebrews or not. But let's say it wasn't, and I invite y'all to research on that, or please put it in there if you have insight. But it may be because she discovered she was Hebrew. It wasn't so much that she was trying to cast blame on us, but he's a Hebrew. That's repulsive to Egyptians, right? So she probably screams, Hebrew, you're an imposter. And remember I was talking about imposter, right? Making up an imposter that you want to call Jesus. So she was freaking out because she discovered he was Hebrew. Or it just could be a sense of she was just really insulted. She was insulted because he didn't yield to her advances. So she's going to make him pay. And she's going to blame him for trying to molest her. That brings up the question of, people ask, can a man be raped by a woman? Yes and no, right? It's not like, a woman, unless, she, drugs and give him a sleeping drug or something like that. And somebody would ask, well, how can you rape a man while he's sleeping? Are you serious? A man sustains like an erection like many times during the night. All right, so it's not an impossibility. So people ask, the Bible's like, and these are people who like lean on science and stuff like that. Oh, science, and the Bible's fake because how could Lot? How could his daughters have sex with him while he's drunk and passed out and he's sleeping? It's like, well, dude, if you guys are all about science, then you know that biologically a man sustains an erection while he's sleeping. Hey, it happens often during the night, right? So, You know, it's like we're thinking with it while we're awake, and we think with it while we're asleep. Okay, it's like it's just all day long, all day strong. You know? Right? So in this, what was I talking about? Joseph means multiply. It's just like, all right.
Well, people are under suspicion of what's in that coffee cup.
None of your business.
Believe it or not, people, it's water.
It's water. It's like I can't do because I get froggy, man. I didn't get froggy like when I talk. I'm doing better today. I'm not getting as froggy. It must be the coffee, man. I don't want to blame the coffee. Coffee is like the nectar of God. Right? Let me see. So now let's take it from what was it, 19? Now his master heard the words. His wife spoke to him, saying, "Such are the things your slave did to me." His anger burned. Then Joseph's master took him and put him where the king's prisoners were confined. Okay, now why would Potiphar be mad? He's not really just mad at Joseph. If he was really mad at Joseph, he would have him executed. All right, he's mad because, woman, look at this position you put. He's like, he knows what's up. It's like, look. I didn't even need to be there to see, because you know what I do see? I see that Adonai is with Joseph. I see that. Remember we talked about that? That's what Potiphar sees. He's mad because of the circumstance that his wife put him in. And he has to save face. He has to punish Joseph somehow. He can't look like a punk. It's like, okay, Joseph, I gotta put you in prison, man. I gotta put you in prison. There might be some doubt, but he's like, man, I can't have you executed. I know something's not right here. All right. And it's like, woman, he burned things because you're going to do this. It's like after Adonai, it says that Adonai blessed his house. It's like, you're going to do this in the house that Adonai blessed? Are you serious? What's wrong with you? Okay? So Joseph is going to be punished, picture of Christ, for the sins of somebody else. And he's sent to the king's prison. The way Jesus will be sent to the prisons of the agents of God. All right, because the word says that Jesus will descend to the spiritual prison. All right, so people be like, not my Jesus. Jesus ain't going to go to hell. It's like, the Bible says he does. He holds the keys to hell and death, right? How does he hold it? Because he had to go get them. Huh? I don't like it when people try to make this pedestal. They're going to shape this pedestal to put Jesus on. It's like, you don't need to do that. The earth is already the Lord's footstool. You ain't got to make it. Let's see. Then Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, confined, so that's where he was, in prison. But Adonai was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the eyes of the commander of the prison. The commander of the prison entrusted him. He trusted Joseph with everything, right? Once again, entrusted Joseph's hand all the prisoners, who were in the prison, so that everything that was done there, he was responsible for it. You see that Joseph was a pretty humble guy. That's one of the things that we have in America, man. And I keep hearing people talk about, we need to restore pride in America. I get so sick of hearing that, man. You want to talk about a pet peeve? America doesn't have any pride anymore. We need to restore pride in America. You know what America's problem has always been? Pride. Pride all over the place. That's always been our problem. What America needs is a dose of humility. Humble ourselves so that we can be exalted. That's the problem. It's like, proud to be an American. Oh, it's pride, man. It's killing us. That's the disease. Pride. You know what I'm saying? Pride all over the place, man. It's just bad. It doesn't lead to anything good. It's the first flipping sin, y'all. Pride is the first sin. Get rid of it. Okay? So in this, Joseph wasn't a private man. He was a very humble dude. Oh, here's that frog. Dang it. That's right. Coffee has been redeemed. It's not the culprit. All right. So, and people be like, look at what Joseph endured, man. I heard somebody saying this is really true, man. This is really true. We're a culture that's taught, don't take any crap. That's right, man. Don't take no crap from anybody. You get out there and you don't take no crap. That's one of the reasons why probably people can't get ahead, is because they're taught, don't take any crap. You know how you get ahead? And I followed that same line of thinking too. I'm not going to take any crap. I'm not going to take any crap. That's pride talking. You know how you really get ahead? You got to learn how to take some crap. Yeah, you got to learn how to shoulder some crap, man. You got to learn how to eat it. You got to learn how to eat crap. People, exactly, and smile. You know, it's like, don't take any crap, don't take any crap. It's like, yeah, it sounds strong and it sounds like you're assertive and you're going to get out there, and it's like, no. These are the people who end up not doing anything with their lives. Always out there trying not to take any crap. Sometimes you need to get that crap so you can fertilize your lawn. You can grow some flowers. All right? You need to take that crap. You need to learn how to take it. All right?
That's God refines us.
Exactly. You know, it's a hard lesson, y'all. It's a hard lesson. I ain't going to sit there and act like, oh, I'm the master of taking crap. It's hard. You know, I don't like that bitter taste myself, you know, but it's the truth. You know, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to let people walk all over you. But as Joseph is showing here, it's like Joseph is practical, right? He's a humble dude, but he's practical. And in his humility, he's always escalating, right? He lowers himself, right? Humbles himself and gets lifted up. And you can see that happening through his life, all right? The commander of the prison did not concern himself. He ain't with anything under his care. So he don't have to worry about, like, Joseph, like, you know, raping any of the prisoners. He's like, hey, you want me to sell you for some cigarettes? You better get over here and do what Joseph tell you to do. It's right. Tattoo a woman on your back and so he didn't have to worry about Joseph doing anything weird like that. Joseph was all under his care because Adonai was with him, and Adonai made whatever he did successful. Right on, y'all. I hope we receive some good fruit out of there. And it's like, yeah, so if we did get any fruit out of it, it was shaped like a cucumber. Is cucumber fruit? All right, y'all. Thank you so much. We got anybody ask any questions? Anybody yelling at me?
So K. Carl Gustafson says, get this quote, I'm prideful at how humble I am.
How's that for what's that word, oxymoron?
Yeah.
Not that that's not good. I think it's a word. It just doesn't sound like. Was a paradox that has a paradoxical term? Yeah.
Matthew Philbrook, you're going to love this.
Uh-oh.
You should also examine some Twilight Zone, spelled Z-O. Twilight Zone episodes, believe it or not, they had some morality to them.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, we call it Twilight Trippin.
So, you know, there's obviously, and not to sound mean, obviously this person has not seen Sinistervia. Yeah. Most of y'all haven't. You haven't seen Sinistervia. The series that I was trying to produce, I was trying to do a grassroots effort to get this. It was like it was a parody of the Twilight Zone. I'm a big Twilight Zone fan, actually. Yes. And Rod Serling, the guy was cued in. You know, the Lord was using him more. You know, Rod Serling was more of a. He wasn't Christian. He believed in God. It's like, dude, you know, the Lord is speaking to you, man, and you know, just embrace Jesus. He was like a universalist or, yeah, you know, so you know, and it's like, man, but you know, the Lord was definitely speaking through him. You know, and the Lord spoke through. You know, he did work through Nebuchadnezzar. You know, for God's sake. So Rod Serling, he was onto it, man. He was in you know, some of those episodes of Twilight Zone. I'm a huge fan, you know. And Sinistervia was my effort to like do a series. It was an anthology of skits pointing out the absurdity, leftist absurdity. The left, they give us so much to work with, man. And the fact that we don't have, like, you know, productions out there to illustrate their absurd, you know, views. You know, being away from God, doing things that are ungodly, and their ideas that are reflective of socialism and communism and stuff, or it's just straight up, it's just this collectivist thinking and stuff like that. Dude, it's so much to point out and illustrate, you know, with their absurdity. And I tried, man. I tried to put out this series, and it was like a Twilight Zone. It was influenced by the Twilight Zone, because that's what the liberals are. They're trying to drag us into the Twilight Zone. And so Sinistervia, you know, it's a play on words, sinister and urban. Sinister, which actually means left. That's what sinister means. Yeah. In evil or a product of evil, but sinister refers to what's on the left-hand side. And urban, meaning like a city or town or something like that. So Sinistervia basically means this leftist town or leftist state that the left is trying to drag us into. So, but a lot of y'all don't even know about it because, you know, the internet has been hiding it. But it's out there. I hope you guys look it up. Sinister, the first, I tried to make a pilot, Evil Hillary doll. And y'all, it's not like some Emmy Award winning production I was trying to put out. it was something that I wanted to add to the Zoloft, like kind of like a cutaway skit to like illustrate a leftist absurdity. So it was that kind of thing. So, you know, but it was even written up about in the Hollywood Reporter too. So they got wind of it. But, you know, despite even with that kind of publicity, the left, they put the clamp down on it and you cannot discover it. Only if you know what the title is. If you put in Sinisterbia, then you can find it. But that's only if you know what the series is called. But but you're not gonna stumble on it by accident. You're not gonna find it in cross references and stuff like that because it's hidden. And you have to actually know what it is in order to find it. Yeah. All right.
Cook says he's seen it.
Nice. All right. And you know, when you try to share it with your friends and stuff like that, most likely they're not going to see it. Because if you share content that has if it has my name in it or has anything to do with me, you're going to notice that I try to share your stuff, but nobody seems to see it. Yeah, it's because my name is attached to it. All right. You'll look at your other posts like, wow, people seem to see these. They see this stuff. I get likes and comments and stuff like that, but I post your stuff and I get nothing because my stuff is masked. Yeah. All right. If he was like, that's what I'm trying to say, I'm shadow banned. But I know that my God is a miracle working God, and he's going to let you know what? And I have a feeling that maybe he just wants a lot of people to know that, yeah, that dude was shadow banned. And God's like, oh, you see it now, right? Now watch this.
Amen. Stacey Lee Roberts, Girl After Our Own Heart. She says there is good content out there. David Barton's American Heritage series.
David Barton is the dude.
Yes.
Right? Yes. I wouldn't mind having a root beer with that guy. All right?
You don't need any more sugar, honey.
Sugar. It's not sugar. It's the sweet word of the Lord. And you don't crash on that word. All right. All right. Anybody else?
We've got a lot of amens, and somebody's like saying we should do crowdfunding for these Sinisterbia, Twilight Zone type things.
I would like to, but and you know, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. This is the reality of it. I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but you know, a realist. The reason why I haven't done crowdfunding for it is because people don't see it. I did another crowdfunding campaign, and when I did crowdfunding campaign for 20 Pound Sledge, it was very successful. We raised like $30,000 in what was it, like 2 months. Yeah. You know, I wasn't getting out, but you know, it's like once they saw that, hey, this person is effective and he's getting word out there and reaching people with 20 Pound Sledge. Oh, we got to put the clamp down on that.
Yeah.
All right. So me doing crowdfunding, I can't even. People hardly even see my posts, so I can't really drive the crowdfunding campaign because people aren't going to see it. And when it grows slowly, when it has a slow growth like that, people won't contribute to it. It's like, well, nobody's showing any interest, and I don't think this is going to get done. But I mean, I would like to, and trying to put it like this, somebody may say, well, I can do it for you. If you do, you can't attach my name to it. You know, you can't put anything that has anything to do with me, anything that sounds familiar. So like if you were saying, we're going to do a crowdfunding to get Sinisterbia made, that has something to do with me. It won't go out. All right, you won't reach people because it has something to do with me. And you know, it's why me? It's like, I mean, they're sticking it to me like really bad. You know, like why me? It's like people say, well, they're doing it to a lot of people. I know that, and that doesn't make me feel any better. All right, it sucks that this is being done to people. Hey, I don't like it. And it doesn't mean.
You started warning people in 2014 when this
20,
started happening to you.
Exactly. I was talking about this like years ago. It's like nobody cared.
Now suddenly everyone's concerned that Republicans are being, you know, banned. And
So, but you know, like I said, I'm trusting the Lord that He's going to give direction and part this this internet Red Sea that's in front of us, and it'll get done.
Amen. How sweet! Eric Burgess posted the link to Sinisterbia.
Right on, man. Thank you so much. Hey, not a bad production. We put that together like in a couple of days. A few friends, a few bucks, and because we were trying to get that done right before the election. Yeah. You know, it's like, let's put this out there. You know, this is our little part, and you know, and for us to be able to slap that together as fast as we did, no production meetings, no storyboarding, no nothing. Just put it together. Not bad. We were and the actors. We were all our own crew. And, you know, I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. I don't really think of myself as an actor. Nick Searcy would disagree because Nick Searcy cast me in his movies. Nick Searcy's like, you are an actor. All right, I'm an actor. You know, I don't really consider myself one. But I'll do my best because I want to promote the gospel. And if it's a resource available to me, and you know, to be creative and stuff like that, hey, let's do it. But at any rate, it's some like the little girl in it. She never acted before a day in her life. All right, Cassie's little girl. She did a great job. I mean, the only actor in it is the one who played the wife. You know, she was the only actual actor, and you know, she's awesome. But yeah, so but yeah, if you guys check it out, man, I'd still like to be able to do it. I'd still like to get it out there. Anyway, anything else?
Oh, we've just got people talking about, you know, Republicans being shadow banned.
Mm-hmm. It's real, y'all. The struggle is real.
Stacey Lee Roberts says, I've been following you forever.
I thank you so. Thank you for not getting tired. All right, y'all. I know you guys got to get on doing things that you got to do. I got stuff that I got to do. And may the Lord be with y'all. Yeah. Be with you heathens. Through the weekend. Don't get yourself into trouble. The Lord shalom to you. May your weekend leave you refreshed and restore whatever it is that you do. You know, just take the Lord with you, y'all. Take the Lord with you and inspire folks. Be that salt and light. And we'll see you Monday. All right, God willing.